and welcome to our online training course for our URHeights volunteers. First and foremost, I want to say thank you. Thank you for wanting to pour into the lives of kids and pass our faith on to the next generation. I'm Amy Vogel. I'm the Director of Spiritual Growth for URHeights, and I oversee all of our ministry work, including our family discipleship. So I really appreciate you taking the time to get trained, to know how to participate in our ministries on Sundays and throughout the week. You're going to be hearing from our core team members, which are made up of education specialists. So I'm really excited with the content they're going to be bringing to you. They are volunteers themselves as well, and you're going to be hearing more about how easy it is to check your kids in. You're going to be hearing about the flow that we have on Sunday mornings for the kids' experience. You're going to be hearing from one of our specialists who's going to tell you about behavior management and de-escalation and how we handle that within our room during Sunday school. And you're also going to be hearing from my lead partner, Brittany Hopkins, who is going to be telling you all about how to really get involved and what expectations we have. I'll come back to you periodically, and I'll close us out with some final thoughts, and then we'll be finished from there. So again, we can't wait to serve with you and really appreciate how much you're going to be involved in the life of this church. See you soon.
Hi everybody, my name is Brittany Hopkins. I am one of the co-leaders with URHeights. As most of y'all probably know, I have two 6-year-old twin boys that are part of the ministry, and that's ultimately why I got into it in the first place. So I am coming to talk to you guys about the Sunday check-in, and so we will have one of the core team members to check your kids in and out on Sundays. We will be using the Planning Center app to check everybody in, check everybody out. We will gather the kids to be able to check everybody in prior to taking them to their service, and then upon checkout at the playground, one of us will then also be checking each of your kiddos out. So we will all be signing up to do the check-ins, so you guys know who to find each week. So similar to how everybody checks in for the other service opportunities, we will also be signing up to do the kids check-in and check-out.
Hello, my name is Dana Haig, and I am here to guide you through Children's Church, what that will look like as a volunteer, and also the experience that your children will go through. I have been involved in URHeights as a Sunday school teacher. My son has gone through, and he is now participating in the youth group. I am also in education. This is my 18th year, and I am currently serving as a special ed in-class support resource teacher. I have worked with children of all ages and abilities, and I am happy to lead you through this next process. So when the children are dismissed from sanctuary, the volunteers will meet everybody in the back. We will be brought over to the area near the playground, and everybody will gather together. When we are gathered together in a room, we will begin with a welcome, with worship songs. We will have a video that plays. We will make sure that the lesson is taught all together, focusing on the main point and the objective from the Bible verse that we are studying and the Bible lesson that we will be teaching about that day. Depending on the number of children that we have and the ages, we may break it up. We may also keep everybody together, and it will flow into the activity that is based around the lesson and the Bible verse that we are studying for that day. Here are a couple of examples of some activities that will take place. This one says color, but there's also going to be opportunities where the children can create it on their own, whatever best fits their ability, situation, and their age. We have different levels, again, based on age and abilities, and focusing on the lesson and the Bible verse for that day. Now remember, this is only 30 minutes, and this is from the time that we get the children, bring them over, get them settled. Once the craft is finished, once the activity is finished, you'll have time for prayer, you'll have time for maybe a little bit more worship, and then it will end with everybody going to the playground. Once everybody is to the playground, that is when big church will be finished, and parents will meet us at the playground, and they will check out the child, and then you will release your children to their parents. Our main objective is that you have fun with the kids, that you make it entertaining and engaging, and that you focus on the Bible study, the Bible verse for that week, so that the children can then take it and apply it throughout the week when they are away from us and with their parents. So 30 minutes, not a big deal. You'll be great at it, and we thank you for your time.
Hi, I am Blair Overman, and I'm so happy to be here with you this afternoon. Here at URHeights, I am the director of our prayer ministry, our youth director, and I do a whole lot of behind the scenes. But it's not all I do. Monday through Friday, I'm an autism specialist for a school district, and I'm a board certified behavior analyst. I love to work with kids who happen to be on the spectrum, who might have challenges and differences. It's so important and my passion to see kids included and get an opportunity to experience what everybody else experiences. So how do we do that? Because it can be scary as an adult to walk in and see a kid that might be different, that might need something different. But I'm gonna make it a little less scary for you. So here's how we do that. One, remember, everybody can participate, even at the most basic level. So here's an example. This is our level A craft, and you saw this a little bit earlier from Dana. Well, the great thing about this is kids are supposed to color it, but they don't have to color. Very simply, it's a piece of construction paper and some glue, with it outlined in red to know where the red goes, outlined in brown to know where the brown goes, and outlined in green. And for kids who can write but might not be able to spell, that's okay. We don't have to call it out for them. We don't have to call attention to it. We can write it for them so they can trace it, so that they can participate just like everybody else. Because our job is to show them that they are significant and to remind them of that, not by calling them out about what they can do, but building on their strengths. So everybody gets to participate. Everybody is loved, and everybody has a safe place to belong here in our kids ministry. So behavior management, scary, right? No, it's really not. Why? Because all you have to do is know what behavior is. So here's the secret. Behavior is anything you can see. You just have to be able to see it. See, I took my ring off. You can see that. That's a behavior. I'm moving my hands. That's a behavior. It's everything you can see. What behavior is not an emotion. Saying I'm frustrated or I'm happy or I'm mad, the act of saying it is a behavior. But the emotion is not. Emotions are okay. So let's set everybody up for success. From your kid who's been in children's ministry since they were in the nursery at 6 weeks old, to the kid who's walking in for the first time and may have never been to church, and they might even be in a special ed program at a school. And you may not know that. So how do you set everybody up? How do you set that pastor's kid up, that PK up? Well, you have clear expectations for everybody. No more than 3 rules. Make rules visual and have a simple routine. Dana talked earlier about the order. That order needs to stay every single time. If we're gonna change it, we need to tell everybody. We don't just need to change it and surprise them. And be prepared. So how do you get prepared? Well, as a URKids team, we're gonna make sure that you're prepared, and if you need these things, they're already gonna be prepared and bagged and ready to go for you. So you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel to make it up as you go, but look at your lesson ahead of time. Spend some time knowing what the craft is. Get prepared, because the more comfortable you are with it, the more fun you can have with kids. And that's the whole goal. Have fun. So here are some examples. 3 rules. What are my 3 rules on this screen? You need to sit. You need to listen, and you need to be gentle, because gentle is loving. And so, guess what? There's some boys in our group, and they want to play and they want to roughhouse. They're boys. We also have to teach them to be gentle and when it's okay to do that. And have a schedule. Show it to them. Make it visual. So we come in and we're going to have some worship to start. We're going to listen to a Bible story. We're going to watch a video. And at the end, we're going to get to go outside and play. We're going to get to have prayer. And your parents are going to come. See, providing that can absolutely make kids feel comfortable. Because this might be new for somebody. And for all of our kids, it is new. It's 2022 and we've not had kids ministry since the beginning of 2020. So that's 2 years. So we need to give them some grace. So let's talk about behavior, because guess what? It's going to happen. You're going to have some kids that engage in some behavior that might not be behavior you want to see or behavior that you've dealt with before. So how do you deal with it? Well, there's a couple of things. One, you're going to have access to us as a core team if you're leading, to be able to get in contact with us to say, hey, I could use some help. And we're going to come help you. But what do you need to do in that time that it takes us to get to the sanctuary to where you are? Be calm. It's not scary. Nobody's going to hurt anybody. It's okay. Be supportive. Sometimes that kid might just be anxious about what's happening. So be supportive. You might just need to sit with them. Listen. Listen to what they're saying. They might be trying to tell you, I need a break, or I need to go to the bathroom, or I miss my mom and I want to go back and sit with my mom. And then provide choices. Now, these are choices that you want to provide, not choices that they want, because what's every kid gonna want to do? I want to go to the playground. Playground's not an option. We do the playground at the end. But we can take a break in the room. And we're going to provide things for them to take breaks and how that works. So, how can you help a child calm down? One, provide a way to take a break. That's always important. Give a safe space. They might not need to sit right next to their friends. They might need to sit back a little bit. You might need to turn the volume down on things. Now, one of my favorites, when we're super upset and we're crying and we can't breathe, is a trick we call smell the flower and blow out the candles. So everybody pretends you hold a flower and you take a deep breath and you smell it. Oh, it smells so good. Okay, let's blow out the birthday candles. And you just practice and you do it with them. It might take you 2 or 3 times, but it will help them calm down. And then again, I'm going to come back. Provide choices of what they can do instead of the activity. Because things like this might make somebody a little nervous. They might not feel like they can do as good a job as somebody else. So it might have caused some anxiety. And that support means giving them a choice and giving them other ways to do it, but also giving them the opportunity to take a break. And sometimes we just need to get away and take a walk. And that's okay. You can always take a walk. So let's talk about do's and don'ts when you're de-escalating behavior and you're working with kids, right? Don't lose your cool. Do stay calm. Say things, don't say things you can't follow through on. Do say things you can follow through. Don't make promises you can't keep. Here's the thing. Never promise you're going to get to go outside, or we're going to have a snack next time, or promise that you're going to be there next week, because things happen and you might not be here next week. Don't promise that you're going to bring a toy or we're going to watch a video on your phone. Don't make those promises. Be consistent. You've heard me say it, and I'll say it again. Be consistent. Don't remove kids to the playground just because they don't want to participate. Because here's the thing, I'll tell you a secret that I tell teachers all the time, and I even tell my friends. If a kid, or even an adult, learns that a behavior works. So if I learn that I tell you I don't want to and I refuse to do something, and I get to automatically go to the playground, or I start crying and I get to go to the playground, guess what I'm gonna do next time? I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna refuse to do what you asked me to so I can go to the playground. Provide a break space and provide sensory items. Guys, let me tell you something. Kids don't sit still. School doesn't make them sit still. Their world is not about sitting still. And if they are sitting still, a lot of times they've got electronics in their hands. So we might need to provide something for them to do with their hands while they're listening to the story, and that's okay. But again, remember, the behavior's not scary. You can do this. It's not rocket science. It's just about being consistent. It's just about loving on kids. It's just about empowering them to make choices and reminding them that they're significant and that they can do significant things and that they were created by God who loves them. And no matter who they are, they have an impact on this community here at URHeights.
Hi, and welcome to our Safe Sanctuary training. I am Mary Gossett, the Family Ministries Director of Grace United Methodist Church, and I am here to introduce you to the not always fun world of Safe Sanctuary training. So whether this is your first time or your 15th time, welcome. And remember, this is important because it's for the safety of the children especially, and also of us. So Safe Sanctuary is the policy that the annual conference came up with, where we are creating safe sanctuaries in our communities. So think of it like we want to make sure that we protect all the kids in our midst and make sure that they have a safe sanctuary to come to, because that's what we want church to be, is a sanctuary. So here is our policy, and I'm going to kind of read and skim over it. And remember, this is basically common sense. Don't do things that would put you or other people in jeopardy. Our calling and our mandate is to ensure safe sanctuary for God's people. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus provides teaching on providing a peaceable kingdom for all of God's people, including our most precious gifts, our children and our youth. The peaceable kingdom begins with sanctuary. Scripture provides examples of how sanctuary is to be a community of protective nurture and harmony. As Christians, we are called to create a safe sanctuary in our churches. They must be holy, safe, and protective communities for all of God's children, regardless of age or ability. The purpose of this policy is to address the safety of our children and youth at events sponsored by the church. The church recognizes the needs to have a formal written policy with procedures in place to, one, help prevent the opportunity for the occurrence and or the appearance of abuse of children and youth, and two, to protect workers from false accusations and or suspicions. The following policy and procedures are not based on a lack of trust in workers, but are intended to protect our preschoolers, children, youth, workers, employees, volunteers, and the entire church body. Careful and confidential documentation is essential to show compliance with the policies, to verify information as needed, and to have an accurate record in case of an incident. So our policy basically says that adults are anyone who is 18 years of age or older. A youth assistant is anyone under the age of 18 who may work with children and youth, only when supervised by at least 2 adults over the age of 18. Youth assistants cannot be in charge of nor left alone with the children and the youth. A minimum of 5 years should separate the adult and the youth assistant from the oldest child or youth they are supervising. Background checks on youth under the age of 18 are inaccessible, so choose youth with great care. So to achieve compliance with Safe Sanctuary policy, it may be necessary to combine groups, recruit, train, and reference additional volunteers, or cancel an event. So that's why it's always important when we ask you to volunteer for you to show up, especially if you have been Safe Sanctuary trained. Recognizing that there is safety in numbers, children and youth will be instructed to use the buddy system, and it's strongly encouraged that there be present at least one adult who is trained and certified in first aid and CPR. And observation through like windows and doors is also a good extra protector for all of us. So for the nursery, childcare, there should be a minimum of 2 adults per room or within the line of sight. And if we can provide the same kind of protection that the minimum childcare standards do, we will try to follow that as best as possible. With youth and children, we need to have the 2 adult rule, which means 2 unrelated adults and people that are within line of sight. So in the event that we are stretched and we have an adult who can see and know what's going on, that's okay, but really we want 2 adults in every classroom. Any time that you do need to do that one-on-one mentoring, you need to make sure that another adult knows where you are and what's going on, and they can be in line of sight. And this is again for safety in numbers, so that we don't have any misconstruction of anything that might be not great. Overnight trips, if we're staying in a cabin or things like that, we want 2 adults in every room. If there's, for some reason, we're staying in a hotel, then we would want the adults in a separate room from the kids. So there are lots of definitions about what abuse actually is. So verbal abuse is any verbal act that humiliates, degrades, or threatens any child or youth. Physical abuse is any act of omission or act that endangers a person's physical or mental health. In the case of a child or youth physical abuse, this definition includes any intentional physical injury caused by the individual's caretaker. Physical abuse may result from punishment that is overly punitive or inappropriate to the individual's age or condition. In addition, physical abuse may result from the purposeful act that poses a serious danger to the physical health of a child or youth. Sexual abuse. Child or youth sexual abuse is the sexual exploitation or the use of same satisfaction of sexual drives. So I'm not going to go into all of it. There's more things you can read online in our policy, but don't do anything inappropriate with kids. So we're going to be doing screenings for adults. That is something that we do as part of our policy, and it's something that we do repeatedly. So maybe you had a background check a couple years ago. Well, we're going to do it again just to be safe, because it's the best practice for us and for all the kids. And so we'll be doing these background checks and screening. Check with myself or Amy if you have any questions about them, and we will be keeping them confidential. So in case anything does pop up, we'll want to make sure it actually is you and not just somebody with your same name. And so that way we can make sure that we know everything and every person that is going to be interacting with our kids. So this is our training. This is a part of what you do so that you know that you are Safe Sanctuary compliant. So thank you so much for this. And reporting. So when we need to report anything, we need to go through the proper channels. So what you don't want to do is go talk to your friend and say, I think something's going on. So instead, go talk to the person who's in charge, myself, Amy, or one of the pastors, and talk to them and say, I suspect something is going on. And if that is the case, then we will walk you through the steps in which we want to report things. And this might include things that happen on campus. It might also include things that you overhear them say about something that happened with their family. And we'll have a documented process to help you figure that out. If in the case that there is something that comes up that becomes a story, the policy is do not talk to the media. We know that the media can get things misconstrued and so on and so forth. So just say, please refer to our designated person. And so that will be the pastor or somebody that the conference appoints to us. So that will be our dedicated speaker, and they will know what's going on and will be the official voice. Discipline appropriate for age levels. So, when they're older, don't make them just have a little bit of a timeout, or if they're little, don't give them a really long timeout. So just make sure that they know that what they're doing right now is not appropriate. We're not happy with what's going on. And that, always let your parents know what's going on, because I know I like to hear when my kids are being well behaved or if there's something I need to help correct at home. Let's see. So we also need to make sure we maintain appropriate physical and emotional boundaries. So when you have a little bitty kid, so let's say a 3 or 4 year old, they might be extra huggy. They might want to give you lots of hugs and be all over you. If you have the same behavior from a youth, that might not be so appropriate. So if something feels odd, go report it to somebody, just so that they know what's going on. Never be alone with a young person, and just do your very best to have common sense and to make sure that we protect our kids. So thank you so much for listening to our Safe Sanctuary Talk. We have a long, detailed policy that you can read. And remember just to stay safe and bless these kids with your presence.
Hey y'all, it's Amy Vogel again. I'm so glad to be back here and that you've made it through each of these modules. I know it's a lot to take in, so feel free to go back and rewatch what you might need to feel comfortable and get ready to be part of this ministry, to serve kids and to pass our faith along to them. Y'all, that's really what I want you to get. That's the vision I want you to catch, is that we're not just doing Sunday school, we're not just doing church for kids. Y'all, we're creating an experience where they can really come and get to know God for themselves, get to know each other. This is like mini church. This is exactly what kids need in a format where they can digest it, they can comprehend it, and we can help them learn not only about the traditions and the stories of our faith, but really be able to internalize for them what Jesus means for their lives, who Jesus is, and how they can build that relationship that is sustainable. That's the vision I want you to catch, because that's what's exciting. That's what's really going to grow our church and move them from little bitties to bigger kids, to youth that are on fire for Jesus, because that's what we want. Just as we are growing spiritually as adults, we want that same discipleship pathway for kids. We really want them to feel involved, to feel connected, and that this is a safe place for them to grow. Okay, are we clear? I wanted to set that up because I'm about to tell you exactly what we expect of our parents and volunteers. What we expect of everybody, whether you have children or you have grandchildren, you don't have children at all, but just want to be involved in this ministry. What we're expecting of you is once a month, you sign up to serve on a Sunday. As Dana has already said, that pretty much amounts to about 30 minutes. I know everybody has the capacity and bandwidth in their schedule to serve for 30 minutes, just one time a month. Now I'll tell you, that's only 4 Sundays, right? And what happens is if we get everybody involved, we get all the parents signed up, we get other people from around the church signed up and trained, just like you're doing now, guess what? That pool of people is going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So you might not have to serve once a month, but that is our expectation. And what I want you to know is this is fun. We want this to be fun for kids. We don't want you to be stressed out, because if you're stressed out, the kids are gonna feel it. So we want this to be an exciting experience for you, because I can tell you in the 8 years that I've been involved in this church, I've seen all of my kids grow. I've seen this community come around and surround them. And it really does take a village to raise kids. It always has, and it always will. And I know people who are their godmamas, their play aunties, they are checking on these kids. They are watching my videos on my Instagram feed because they love my girls. And so just because my kids are a little older, I'm still gonna be invested, because I love seeing these little bitty babies grow up to become youth and beyond. And I know that I've done my best to instill what I know about Jesus into them. So one Sunday a month, 30 minutes, sign up. That's what we expect. And that's what I'm going to be following up with everybody who is coming through our doors. We want everybody to participate. But now I want to talk about something that we didn't address in the last module, because it's going to be important for you as a volunteer to know that if something happens, if the behavior doesn't de-escalate, if you start to feel out of control and out of sorts, and you just feel like the room is kind of going off the rails, that's okay, because we've got a process for you. So I'm going to invite Blair back into our conversation, and we're going to talk you through exactly what to do if things start to get or feel out of control for you, especially if you're a new volunteer. So Blair, what happens when a child, no matter who it is, because to be honest, it could be my kid, that they really just don't listen, they don't want to participate, and things just start to get really, really stressed in the room? What should a volunteer do?
So the first thing you need to do is
take a deep breath for yourself, because that's going to be the most important thing, is for you to remain calm. Like I said earlier, the next thing you do, pull out your cell phone and you're going to contact myself or another core team member, and we're going to come help you, and we're going to walk in the room and we're going to work on de-escalating the situation. Then we will make the call if we need to get the child's parents, if we need to remove the child, and what that looks like. But please remember that it's okay to get nervous.
Yeah.
But try first, because you really are an impactful part of this child's life. And sometimes they just need to know that they have a shot and they have a chance.
Yeah.
And remember, at the end of everything, if we've come in, if we've had to remove that child, one of the most important things is at the end of service to make sure that you reconnect with that child.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that you can continue to have a relationship and remind them that you love them and that it's okay.
Yeah.
And that you're not mad, because they need to feel safe, because church is a safe place. Place for youth, place for kids. It's a safe place for us as adults.
Yeah.
So reminding them that it's safe is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really important to remember that this is supposed to be fun. It really is supposed to be fun. So we're going to do everything as a core team that we can to make sure that the kids are having fun and you as the volunteers are having fun as you're developing these relationships. Because when you volunteer, you're going to get to know these kids. You're going to see them in service when you're not volunteering, and they're going to connect with you. And so it really is going to be a great experience. Don't be nervous. Everybody thinks that it's crazy insane to volunteer for children's ministry. I did too. But honestly, what I've learned over the last 8 years, it is a blessing to experience these kids and to see them grow up. You agree with that?
I absolutely agree. So remember, have fun and ask questions. Guys, ask us questions.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, I don't know how to deal with this, ask us questions. And specifically, if you're a parent of a child who might struggle in any way, whether it's with how they speak or and communicate to, they might have autism or ADHD or any other challenge that is actually not a challenge, it's a strength. And I promise you, if you want to talk about that, come find me and we can talk about that. But let us know, because we want to make sure that your child has the best experience possible in children's and in youth, because they are significant and they have a place here.
Absolutely. Thanks, Blair.
Thanks, Amy.
So y'all, just keep that in mind as you're going through this, because what's going to happen once you complete this training is you're going to get several links. Actually, in the email that you get this training, you're probably going to have several links all ready to go and teed up. It's going to be the link to sign up to serve, where we build the calendar from. There's going to be a link, a volunteer application link that we need you to go ahead and fill out. We're reinstating, because it's been a couple of years since we've done children's ministry, so we're doing background checks on everybody. So if there's anything you've got any questions on, you can reach out to me and I'll be happy to answer those questions. And our calendar for Sunday school, it's not all year long. We actually take a summer break. So we're starting in May and we'll run through the end of June, and then we'll take a summer break and then come back August 14th. We're going to have a big back to school bash. In fact, go ahead and add that to your calendar right now. Big back to school bash. We'll invite the community. We're going to serve the community, and we're going to kick off Sunday school again. And that will run all the way up to December 18th, almost to Christmas Eve. So that's going to be our long calendar, our long semester. And then we'll start back over about mid-January 2023. So we'll keep you in the loop about how we're doing things, how things are working. But you are the people that make this happen, because without volunteers, without people pouring into these kids, y'all, this ministry doesn't happen. It just doesn't. So we are so grateful and thankful that you're invested. A couple other things I want you to put on your calendar before we close this out. We're going to be looking at another family movie night that we'll have here at Grace, hopefully outside if it's not too hot or raining. But we had a great family movie night that we did around Valentine's Day this year. So we're going to be looking forward to taking more of those opportunities now that we're on campus to do that. We also have a family weekend VBS. It's going to start on Friday night, July 22nd, and then we're going to have a big family celebration on Sunday, July 24th. That Saturday, July 23rd, it's going to be morning to mid-afternoon, we're gonna have everybody come back. We're gonna do some crafts. We're gonna learn some activities. We're gonna watch some fun skits. It's gonna be a great time. So remember, put that on your calendar. Our Family Weekend VBS experience, where the parents come in and participate too, is July 22nd, July 23rd, and we close it out Sunday, July 24th. And then I've already mentioned the Back to School Bash, so y'all put that on your calendar, August 14th, and we're really hoping to do a lot of community outreach on that date. If you have any questions, you have any concern, please reach out to me. As you can see, we've got this core team has got so much experience with kids, not just in the church, but even outside as well. This is their calling, their passion, their ministry. So I'm really grateful that God really has surrounded me with people who know what they're doing when it comes to kids. So if you've got questions and concerns, contact us, contact me, and I'll put you in touch with the right people. Thank you again for spending this time with us, and I can't wait to serve our kids with you.